Hello, my lovely dreamers. I'm really happy, as always, to see you again. So hello to you, and you, and you, and of course you. Welcome everyone. Welcome back. Or welcome, of course, if you are new here. If you're new here, I'm Christina. My channel is Old School ASMR Sounds, and I make ASMR videos, not only true crime videos. I also create different role plays or ASMR for relaxation. So if you do not like true crime, please just take a look. Maybe you might find something else. So please don't forget, of course, if you want, to drop a like or consider subscribing. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for your constant support and for your wonderful words. Every time I feel like giving up, I receive a kind comment and I decide to go on. And I'm here tonight with another true crime story, and this time it is a special Valentine's edition, to say so, because sometimes bad things happen even on Valentine's Day. So sit back, find yourself a cozy spot, grab something nice to eat or drink, close your eyes and let's relax and listen to a new story. Let's get started. Let's put on some glasses. Today's story is about a couple. That kind of couple that you envy without even wanting to, because they seem to have everything. They are both good looking, smart, they both have good jobs, a nice house, dream life, holidays in exotic countries. They seem to love each other. So that kind of people. This story is about a doctor called John Hamilton, who at that time was 53 years old. And back then, in 2001, he was a famous OBGYN doctor, and he also had a clinic in which he performed some kind of medical procedures feel too well into very conservative community to say so. So every day in front of his clinic there was a group or two of people protesting against his procedures, this type of procedures. Those type of organizations were called pro-life. So it was Valentine's Day. Valentine's Day 2001. On that day, John, the doctor, left their house early for surgery, and then he returned home to surprise his wife. Being Valentine's Day, he wanted to surprise his wife and exchange Valentine's cards. His wife's name was Susan, and she was 55 years old. And he had to go back for his second operation, surgery of the day, but he didn't forget to order at the local florist a huge, super expensive bouquet of red orchids for his wife. But he wasn't able to pick the flowers up from the florist because he had to call 911. So he placed a 911 call. He seemed to be extremely distraught and asked the operator for help, crying that police needed to be sent or an ambulance because he thought that his wife was deceased and he really needed somebody quick. He also told the dispatcher that he was trying to perform CPR. When the paramedics arrived, they found a horrifying scene. John told them that he had returned home and discovered Susan lying on the bathroom floor. There was blood everywhere. Susan had been strangled with 2 neckties, his neckties, and her head had been smashed with a lot of force. I'll spare you the details. The murder weapon had never been found. So the rich, successful doctor started started his day as usual. He went to perform a surgery, had another one that day, and just decided to surprise his wife because it was Valentine's Day. And he ordered a bunch of expensive flowers for her. But when he returned home, he found his beautiful wife dead in a pool of blood on the bathroom floor. And paramedics who arrived at the scene could see that John was covered in Susan's blood, being also hysterical. And they also said that John was performing CPR in a very strange way. He wasn't doing it right, although he was a doctor and he should have known how to do this properly. At the crime scene, there was no sign of forced entry. Nothing had been stolen, which is pretty strange because they were considered rich. Nothing had been stolen. There were no bloody footprints, nothing, so there was no evidence to make police think that it was someone who entered the house to rob or something. And Susan was supposed to have a very busy day that day, and she was probably in the bathroom preparing to leave. But who were there? So Dr. Hamilton, as I have told you, was a talented OB/GYN doctor in Oklahoma City. When he met Susan in 1985 at a party, they had been both married before, so they were both divorced, and they had children. Susan was considered some kind of trophy wife because she was extremely attractive, extremely smart, and people loved to be around her. People also say that she was a very direct person, that kind of person, black or white, without compromises and stuff. So she really knew what she wanted. And John fell in love with her, found her extremely fascinating, and she was very soon head over heels in love. They got married 2 years later from that party, and they started to have a wonderful fairy tale-like life. As I have told you, John also had the clinic, and the one who used to run the clinic was Susan. And the kind of practice performed at that clinic attracted criticisms in a very conservative community, and there were protests, even leading to the fact that John's face was put on a wanted poster, and they received threatening calls. So the police needed to follow this lead also, because there were people, protesters, who threatened them both. And of course the police started to investigate. It was difficult for them to believe at first that the good doctor had anything to do with this, because from the outside they seemed to be the perfect couple, having the perfect life, of course. And the police followed first the protesters' lead, thinking that someone from the pro-life organization maybe went a little bit too far. But at a certain point, the police found the Valentine Days cards that they exchanged, and in his card the doctor confessed his love to his wife, but in her card Susan wrote something extremely strange for someone who was happy in her marriage. So she wrote in there that she had bought the card 2 weeks before, but she didn't find appropriate to give that card to the doctor at that point. But she said that she still loved him and she wished him a good day. And the words made the police think, question if the marriage was as perfect as it seemed. One of Susan's friends revealed that the couple argued after Susan had discovered that John had given some money to one of his children without telling her, and she had also found out, I don't know how, but she found out that John had been calling another woman a lot of times, about 60. There were about 60 phone calls, and she discovered that the woman whom he was calling was an exotic dancer. And that Susan confronted him. And the doctor said that this exotic dancer, was just a client who was extremely depressed and who desperately needed his help, and that he was just trying to help her. And Susan asked him to stop being this person's doctor. So the marriage didn't really seem to be as perfect now. And it's also said that Susan had been quite sad those days, and wondering all the time if her husband was having an affair with that exotic dancer. They had been married for 14 years, and everything seemed perfect. But so John was taken to the police station, and while he was in the car going to the police station, they could notice that he was scraping his knuckles on the mesh divider, and he wondered if he was trying to hide the injuries on his hands. There's just a little time between the surgeries, but then the investigators discovered that he was late for his second operation. But still, John had a lot of supporters because he was a famous doctor in the community. There were a lot of people who hated him for the kind of procedures that she practiced, but he had also a lot of supporters because he had helped a lot of women, even the exotic dancer denied, when questioned, denied having any kind of affair with the doctor, and she said that she was indeed a client who needed help because she was extremely depressed. What else could a police discover? They also discover strange traces of blood and tissue from Susan's tissues in the doctor's car. But he explained, saying that after finding Susan this way and trying to perform CPR, he rushed outside and tried to move the car, but he couldn't because his hands were shaking and he couldn't do anything. The trial started in December 2001, and the doctor was denied bail, and prosecutors said that John liked to appear in the eyes of the others as a very gentle, kind and devoted husband who bought expensive presents, from flowers to expensive cars. He had just gifted a Porsche to his wife, but Susan confided in friends and told them that she was considering a divorce. Prosecutors assumed that they had argued after exchanging cards in the morning, and John lost his temper and then tried to clean with a rag found at the scene, but he was paged to come and perform the surgery because he was extremely late. So he left the rag and he threw away the murder weapon and his bloody clothes on the way to the second surgery. Then he returned later and discovered the body. The prosecutors used the analysis of the blood splatters and said that he didn't have any traces of blood on his clothes apart from the shoes and drops of blood on his shoes couldn't be explained otherwise than coming from beating someone. And the defense also hired a blood splatter analyst who was questioned, of course, and at a certain point was asked if they had missed anything else. And the person hired by the defense said that there was blood on his cuff. So there was blood and skin on the steering wheel, on his shoes, and inside his cuff. Consistent, the blood on his shoe was consistent with splatter from an alive, Susan to say so between quotation marks. John's defense team said that the investigators, the police, hadn't looked very well into the threats from the protesters. And they said that he was a respected doctor who loved his wife and that he really tried to save her. And they said that the blood on the wheel was from him moving his car for the emergency vehicles. The exotic dancer also denied having any kind of affair. And the defense team brought that expert who testified that the blood patterns on John were consistent with him trying to save his wife, trying to perform PCR. But at a certain point, he also told him about that the blood found on John's cuff and maid in the house also told that a marble statue was missing from the bathroom. So, all this being said, it took the jury only 2 hours to find John guilty of first-degree murder, and he was sentenced to life in prison without a chance of parole. John continued to appeal, but so far has been a retrial has been denied. His supporters still believe that he has nothing to do with this and that he really loved his wife. So I tried to find out what happened to John, and some sources say that he died in prison. Other sources say that he is still in prison. There are a lot of articles and videos that try to demonstrate that John Hamilton was innocent, because the police didn't look indeed very well into the other possibility, and they didn't also bring enough evidence so that it would be convicted without any reasonable doubt. And people who defend him say that he didn't have time indeed to come home between 2 surgeries and kill his wife. It was too little time, and to have time to also change his clothes, try to clean and get rid of the murder weapon and the bloody clothes and so on. And after doing what he did, he was still able to perform the surgery. His colleagues said that he didn't seem to be upset, he didn't seem to he was happy, he made jokes, he didn't seem to be marked somehow by something. So let me know in your comments below what you think. If you think that the doctor was guilty, or if you think that it might have been an intruder. To be sincere, I don't know what to think, but I know that sometimes threats should be taken seriously, and I do think that police should have investigated the other leads more seriously. Don't know, just my opinion. So, thank you. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I really hope that you will have a wonderful day or evening. So, see you next time.